You need hands to hold someone you care for. You need hands to show that you're...
Well, certainly our next guest, he has hands and he certainly cares for his new toy. When we're talking, of course, about Andrew Ladawi, who was back on the Cape to Cape mountain bike track in his brand new hand cycle. Now, it was the first time, Andrew, when we had you on the show the other week, you were looking forward to it. It was the first time since you broke your back doing, you know, mountain bike riding properly on a two-wheel bike. Were you nervous before you got underway the other week?
Yeah, definitely the nerves kicked in before we actually got to the start line. But yeah, once I got into it after a few seconds, it was just, yeah, all go from there, mate.
Did it live up to your expectations? Was it just an amazing feeling?
Above and beyond, and John would vouch for that as well. There was a lot of things that we didn't expect along the way, and I think that made the journey a lot more exciting for us.
No, fantastic. Now, you're mentioning, obviously, John West, who's in here with you, and what was his role in your whole experience?
I'll get John to explain that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially my role as a support rider was just to get Andrew through any sort of technical difficulties that we had on the track itself. We did a few reconnaissance missions beforehand. But on the actual day itself, yeah, there's a few unexpected surprises there, which, you know, proved a little difficult, but, you know, we obviously got through them.
Can you share with us one of those difficulties?
Yeah, certainly. We had a modified version of the Cape to Cape track for stage 3, and along the way, the paths that we had mapped out actually had logs across them. That we didn't know of at the time, so I had to do my best sort of squat lift and get Andrew over that. We had a few water crossings that we thought would be difficult. However, Andrew sort of proved a point that 3 wheels is better than 2 on water crossings, and made short work of that. So yeah, but you know, all in all, yeah, accepted the challenge and got through it.
How did you come to get linked up with Andrew? Were you good friends and you were mountain biking and you said, look, I'll do it, or?
Yeah, that's a really good story in itself, actually. At the time, Andrew sent out a post on Facebook that he was short of a support rider a couple of days out from the event. A mate of mine sent a text through saying, I know of a chap that's riding a hand cycle in Cape to Cape, and his support rider is unavailable to assist, and he really needs someone to help him out. He said, can you make the trip down south with him? I actually didn't really know what to think of that at the time, so I quickly had to do some research as to what this hand cycle entailed, and once I saw it, I thought, this guy's absolutely crazy, and I want part of that. So
brilliant.
I managed to get some time off work, and the first time I met Andrew was when he rocked up to my doorstep and picked me up. So
fantastic.
Oh, really? They are a crazy machine, aren't they? You had not seen one before? Or?
No. Yeah, engineering-wise, it's a fantastic unit. There's a lot of thought gone into it, to enable someone like Andrew, to put maximum power into it. Obviously, no one can see his arms here, but I can assure you they're absolute weapons.
Yes.
And he makes best use of that, those arms on that bike. Yeah.
Did you check out his website, Break the Boundary, before, or?
I did, yeah. So,
I mean, he says nothing is impossible on there, doesn't he? And he proved that when you were out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew is an ambassador to really anyone. Just goes to show that, nothing is impossible. What I saw of Andrew, in our stage was absolute determination. And, we certainly weren't, going to be beaten by the Cape to Cape track. Yeah.
Have you had a go on the bike yet?
No. Yet to have a go. We did a Red Bull short course on the Friday, and Yeah, I'm actually a little scared to use it now because the way that this guy next to me went over the jumps was something else. So, yeah.
If we could just, Andrew, I mean, you were saying obviously it was your first time out with it, and we've just heard about the logs. What was your reaction when you go down this path and there is this log in your way?
Initial reaction to some of the things were just like, oh shoot, how are we going to do this? But then this automatic flick just switches off in my head, and I just start thinking solutions. How are we going to get about this? What are we going to do? What are the options that we got? And then we usually take the best option. If that doesn't work, we go, plan B, C, or whatever we need to do to get over there. And, hat off to John, did just an amazing job. Just a lot of thinking on the spot. And I think that just, really vouches and a good example of great communication between the two of us. And, that's what really got us through to the end.
You were saying that last time you were on the show that you were the only, obviously, hand cycle competitor in the Cape to Cape. What was the reaction from all the other mountain bikers when you rolled up on your little hand cycle?
When we started at the end of the rollout, and we actually had to clear way for me to get to the, I think it was the third wave of people, and people were just looking at it and all just going, oh, what's that thing? And people have heard about me previously, and they're just kind of waving and encouraging me along the way. And yeah, there was a lot of great positive feedback at the end of it, especially at the finish line. Random people, just strangers were coming up and congratulating us and talking to us and sharing their experiences. And yeah, I think it was a great experience just for the whole event.
Now, one of the things you said with your Break the Boundary was you were trying to raise the funds to buy the hand cycle, and you were then also going to make it available to other athletes involved with Wheelchair Sports WA. I mean, having done this now, have people sort of been ringing you going, how did it go, and are they now keen to have a go themselves?
There's a few people that are interested. No one's really given me a cold call or anything like it, dropped an email. I think there still needs to be a bit more work to get the message out there to the community. And yeah, I think, just the more people that see that it's out there, the more people are going to get into it. It's a very fragile issue for a lot of people, especially coming out of rehab. A lot of people aren't really prepared to go for something this extreme. People tend to stick to their basketball and tennis and their swimming and more of a rehabilitation sort of sport. Something like this, I guess, is a step up from all that. And, you just got to be sensitive to some of the people's situations.
You've got the team now. It sounds like you two have really bonded well. I mean, we know that there are events over in Europe, and I know that's a little bit down the track because you've talked to us on the show about that. Is this going to be a partnership that maybe is going to go over to Europe and say, come on, we're going to take on the best?
I don't know. Joe, you want to come with me?
Anything's possible. Yeah, anything's possible, as Andrew states on his website, and nothing's impossible. So,
now, Andrew, take us through those water crossings, because I reckon you would have seen those water crossings and your eyes would have lit up and just gone, I'm going for this.
That's it. I think we crossed about 3 creeks, and there was a dried up waterbed, and that was a really boggy, muddy one.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was a lot of cow manure that's run off from the nearby farm, so we made do what we had there. But I think the very first creek I saw, it was probably about a 4 metre wide one, and I just figured out, all guns blazing on this, because if I don't, I'm just going to bog right at the beginning. So I just fired right up before I got to it, and managed pretty good. I was actually catching up to some of the guys that were walking their bikes over their shoulders. I was keeping a pretty good pace through the water, and that was actually very refreshing to get a bit of a splash water in the face.
Yeah.
Dip the toes and the hands into the water, so it was really nice.
Yeah, because I was thinking when you're saying that about the cow manure, I mean, you're very low to the ground on the hand cycle. A normal bike, it gets flicked up, and you might get a bit on the back of your shirt, but with you, it would have gone right in your...
Yeah, all my leg rests, all my knee pads and everything, that was well submerged under the water on 2 of the creeks. And my gloves go even bit lower than the footrests, so my gloves were just saturated in water and mud. And I was a bit worried at the time about blisters, but I thought, blisters is the last thing on my mind at this point. So get that out of my head and just keep going through it and enjoy the experience.
So would you review the equipment you were wearing now if you were entering another event?
No, I'd probably still be wearing the same stuff. Maybe try and get some sort of waterproof cover around my legs. For longer distances, but I think, I came out all right. There was only a few minor blisters, no scarring or anything like that.
I'd be half dead.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
I'd be half dead lifting it off the trailer.
Yeah. As the weekend went, did many people sort of show an interest in helping you out? Did people say that would be, gee, that's a good thing, we'd like to get involved?
Yeah, after the event, there were a few people from some of the sponsors to the event that sort of approached me and just said, you know, it's a great thing that you're doing. And there were a few people who emailed me afterwards as well and just said, hey, if you're looking at doing another event later down the track, let us know. Be more than happy to help. So there was a good response there.
What about what about the filming? Because I mean, you've said before you want people to, but you reckon that wasn't really going to help you in the end, was it? Filming the tracks to see if you could
it just came down to me having to put a GoPro or a camera on and just go through it myself. The camera's a little bit deceiving that you get on your helmets or on your chest, so it's best just to go down.
Did you get filmed at all?
Yeah. Right from the start, even before the start, we had a camera guy and a navigator on a quad bike.
Oh,
and I'll tell you what, through some of these situations, even the quad bike couldn't get through some of these creek beds. They were struggling. We got over, Johnny got me over some of the creeks and some of the logs, and we looked back and we see the guy struggling on the quad bike. We just thought, stuff it, leave them, let's just get to the finish line. They'll eventually catch up.
We'll be able to see you on TV then? Or
yeah, there's a documentary they release every year, and that comes up on SBS, Cycling Central, just before Christmas.
Oh, look, if you hear a date, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We'll promote it as well, yeah.
I would love to see you in action, honestly. The idea of what you do sounds just, to watch, would be incredible.
It's going to be a good story. It takes my story all the way back from when I had my injury and even before then. It does interview some of my family members as well and takes us through the journey, and John was interviewed for the first time, so... Yeah, good experience for all of us, but yeah, it should be a really good documentary, and really just that will probably be the pinnacle of bringing out the attention to the community that we need.
Fantastic. I just want to get the last word from John, because you said you thought this guy sounded like he was crazy. When it's all over now, is it confirmed that he is?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, needed to sort of match that craziness as well, by, supporting him.
Yeah, the silent loony.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And what's been the reaction of your friends, especially the one who told you that Andrew was looking for someone?
Oh, look, everything's been, positive. There hasn't been any negative reaction to it.
But I'm sure they want to find more, don't they?
Yeah, a lot of my friends will, ride in some sort of formal fashion, and so, the understanding of, and a lot of them actually did the Cape to Cape event, and, were cheering us on as they were going past. So they understand the requirements by leg, let alone doing it by arms. Now, for those people that, don't do any cycling, such as some of my work colleagues, they asked me, what is it like? And I said, well, for Andrew, it was around 5 hours, and it's like going to the gym. And if people know what the grinder is at the gym, it's like being on the grinder for 5 hours and someone throw sticks and rocks at you and mud.
And cow manure.
Yeah, and cow manure. So that's probably the best analogy I can give of what it's like to go on a Cape to Cape hand cycle.
Just before we go, you've got a very handsome trophy in front of us. Yes. What's that one for?
Yeah, so for supporting Andrew, unexpectedly won. It's called the Johnny Waddell Beacon Award. So it's presented to basically the person that encompasses the spirit of the Cape to Cape. We ran into some technical difficulties with the hand cycle. Andrew beat it up enough that he broke the gearing around 8 Ks from the finish, and we really had no option left apart from to get towed from the four-wheeler, which I absolutely despise any sort of mechanical issues. And the four-wheeler driver had a rope, and I said to him that I'm going to tow Andrew back to the finish.
Wow.
So together, Andrew and I set off. We had a bit of a role reversal. Andrew was slaying me to the finish line, and we came up to the last hill of the day, which is a 700, 800 metre climb. So in length, that is, not in height. I looked at my GPS data, and some of it was 20% gradient, and that was
lovely.
going up a clay hill. And I was pushing, and Andrew was leaning over and pushing his wheels. So
Wow.
together we got there, but we certainly didn't do it with any mechanical assistance. There was no way we were going out like that.
That's brilliant.
Guys, that is truly amazing. Look, sadly, I'd love to talk to you a lot more, but we got more guests to get on the show. But thank you so much for coming in once again tonight, Andrew. And John, congratulations on your part in Team Break the Boundary. And sounds like you're worthy winners of the award as well.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We look forward to the doco too. Keep us posted.
Absolutely. Keep us posted, I'm sure. Yeah.